from all, to all, with all, for all, through all. We thank the gods of creation. We thank the ancestors. We thank the forces of nature. And we thank the earth. We thank them for their direction, their protection, their guidance, for keeping us, showing us, allowing us to know and enjoy life to its fullest, now and later.
Black people who once loved with the slow march of time. Time was ours to hold in the soft, love-warm chambers of our hearts. And once we, the Afro mommies and daddies of a sun world, would turn our strands of hair into antennas to tune in the juju madness and syncopated love rhythms of Africa. And we love with time, and we took the time to love, and with the right time we love, and we love time after time. Will we ever love again? Will we ever love again? Will we really ever love again? Or will we just sit and rot away with the brighter tomorrows in the skag-filled, rat-cluttered halls of our minds?
Black people, what y'all gonna do? Black people, what y'all gonna do?
Will the real black people please stand up?
Let our rejoicing rise high as listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us, facing the rising sun.
Jumbo Habari, and welcome once again to Our Story, the program that makes being black positive, relevant, desirable, and true to a lost nation in America, a program that speaks to the historical significance of the original people of the earth. Our Story Network takes pride in setting itself away from other programs that centers on entertainment or rhetorical mumbo-jumbo that misdirects your attention onto other things that causes you to exhaust your resources and renders you brain dead. It is Our Story who talks about commitment to you and your people. It is Our Story that champions the reestablishment of the black genius that once ruled the world. It is Our Story that focuses you in on the rewards of black advocacy, black activism, black involvement, and black power. It is Our Story that encourages survival of the black race and solicits your involvement to that end. Black folks must remember, race first is the call of the day, and we as a people must. I say must take the pledge if we, the people of the original race, expect to survive. As I take the many lessons I have received over the years and reflect upon them, by sharing these lessons with my brothers and sisters, I realize the power that we as a people possess for the most part has gone unnoticed. The masses of black folks who have been rendered lost and disenfranchised from the meaning and mission our creators intended for us to embrace is all but depleted. It is because of the mission and meaning of the life of our ancestors that I realize how blessed as black people we really are. What fascinates me are the many gifts I have been granted, which allows me to distribute the information onward to you. As always, that message begins and ends with the importance of blackness. Say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. Greetings, friends, comrades, family, the inquisitive onlookers, and our beloved viewers. Welcome, welcome, and welcome to Our Story Network. We thank you for being with us this evening, and we trust you will take something of value away with you after the program. That is the aim and goal of Our Story Network, the network that leads the pack in modern-day communications and ancient and modern education. I say ancient and modern education because of the many errors we have found in the translations and interpretations of the ancient records. The modern revelations by new black scholars have opened the window of discovery that has allowed the truth and knowledge originally disseminated by the black masters of education to flourish once again. This is one of the stumbling blocks that has kept black people from rebuilding their greatness and recapturing their birthright. Good evening, brothers and sisters. Welcome to Our Story once again. Before we get into tonight's program, I want to acknowledge the recent guilty verdict by former Dallas police officer Amber Geiger, who shot and killed Botham Jean in his own apartment while Botham was sitting on his couch eating ice cream. The jury could have found Amber guilty of a lesser charge, but found her guilty of the higher charge. Before you ask, no, this does not excuse any of the other murders of black people who have and are suffering at the hands of the police. Now, back to the regular scheduled program. As you know, this program is dedicated to uplifting the black community through education and information. One of the many requests I received is for information concerning the selections of candidates for various elections in New Orleans. Election Day is October the 12th, with early voting beginning September the 28th through October the 5th, which means this Saturday is the last day for early voting. Last week, we talked about the number of black candidates running on the Democratic ticket that are not being recognized by the Democratic Party. For those of you who are always claiming black people need to vote in order to receive a better life, and to those who claim blacks are not voting, I say to you, there are reasons, valid reasons why black people should not vote. This happens to be one of the many reasons. The Democratic Party has claimed black people as if black people are prized possessions granted only to the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party treats blacks as if they are slaves. I say this because we have a number of black candidates running for various offices in Louisiana where the Democratic Party is so bent on not supporting or recognizing. So how can a people feel wanted and included when the Democratic Party feels no obligation to grant them the political access to blacks who are attempting to access the process? Case in point, statewide, we have Oscar Dantzler running for governor, Willie Jones running for lieutenant governor, Gwen Collins Greenup running for Secretary of State, Ike Jackson Jr. running for Attorney General, Peter Williams running for Commissioner of Agriculture. These black candidates deserve the attention of the Democratic Party simply because if it were not for black people, the Democratic Party would have been buried by the Republican Party years ago. So why does it appear Louisiana only has one Democratic candidate running for governor? The same is true for our local offices available for election this year. Orleans Parish has these black candidates running. For the Board of Elementary and Secondary Education, or Bessie Board, we must find new leadership there. Shawan Bernard and Ashanta Watts, both Democrats from New Orleans. Either one of them is better than the one who occupies the office today. The State Senate, District 3, Joseph Bowie, deserves a promotion from state legislator to senator. District 5, the current senator is the person responsible for the New Orleans school teachers' wholesale firing after Katrina, so Allen Bourne Jr. should be the choice to make the current office holder pay for their transgressions. For state legislature in District 91, you have Robert Knight. District 97, Eugene Green. District 98, Evans J. Bergeron. District 99, Candace N. Newell. On the proposition for Orleans, there are 3. Vote no for all 3. There are 4 constitutional amendments on the ballot. Vote no for all 4. That should wrap up the election review board for our story. Now, we are going to turn our attentions to the black community of New Orleans and all black communities of the world. The reason and rationale for the local and international concern is the infectious disease that is attacking the black world wherever the location may be. In the mid-16th century, a then celebrated priest, Bartholomew de la Casa, and the late 16th century English writer Richard Calouste and John Pori created an attributable template in black and white that supposed over the natural world of poorly pigmented people to advance their own skin, their own white lives only, dictates. Unknowingly, all people have been sheepishly promoting their templates ever since. This is pointed out to us in Dr. Jerome Fox in his publication entitled Addicted to White, for all of us who truly hate oppression and wish to overcome. Dr. Fox's workbook, or Being Addicted to White Oppression, is a timely, scholarly offering to century-old problems we as blacks have in today's real world. Beginning in league with the oppressor is truly a problem, Dr. Fox points out. Tonight, we are going to explore the concepts to another level. With us this evening is a valued friend and an esteemed scholar who, in his own right, has developed a new concept and approach to organizing our community, beginning with us first. Master Teacher Ronald Fletcher has developed a valuable tool for the repair kit to address the addiction to white rule. Overcoming the oppression of being in league with the oppressor is an encampment black people have not been able to free themselves. Brother Fletcher has found a hole in the fence that can lead us to freedom. How many times have we heard the black community needs to be organized in order to find freedom? And I must agree with that correctness of this statement. But in order to get the community organized, we first must organize ourselves individually. Brother Fletcher has created that very concept. Tonight we are going to learn about EFT, Executive Functional Therapy, which is designed to use the structure of business to organize your person. So that we don't take up any more time with the preliminaries, it is my honor and pleasure to introduce to you this evening Master Teacher Ronald Fletcher. Welcome, my brother, and please introduce yourself to the viewers who might not be aware of and or your professional standings and your service in the community.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, WC. I'm supposed to look this way or this way?
Either.
Okay. My name is Ronald Fletcher. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, and I'm in private practice. I do individual counseling. I work a lot with veterans, helping veterans with benefits, disability compensation. And I'm here to talk about EFT.
What was it that actually put you in touch with the concept, and how did you develop it from there?
Okay, so I've been doing individual counseling for about 20 years. I work a lot, like I said, with veterans. I'm a veteran myself, and I do a lot of just paying attention to people interacting in the world. And I noticed that white privilege was real, and it was something that seemed and seems to be embedded in not only white people, but people of color, black people. And I wondered about that. And I kept thinking about it and thinking about it. And I realized that it had to have been in our minds. And that was the beginning of EFT, Executive Functional Therapy, kind of looking at the board. The concept is that every person is an organization. And if a person is an organization, then most organizations have boards of directors. And I thought it was, if that's true, I still think it's important for a person, if they have a board of directors, then they should become familiar with that board, who's on the board. Because if the board is truly designed to determine the function of the organization, which is represented by yourself, it would be wise to become familiar with those board members. And so I played with the idea, played with the concept, shaped it up. And so let me just put it out there.
Yeah.
Okay. EFT, Executive Functional Therapy, operates from the premise that every person is an organization. If they are an organization, they've got a board of directors. If that's true, then it's important to recognize and know where those meetings are held, board meetings, and board meetings are held in the mind. Then it's also important to recognize who those board members are. So I get people to help them recognize who is it that's on their board. Now I ask that question, and once the person grabs hold of the concept, immediately they say things like, oh, my mom, my dad, a person who's been influential in their lives. And then I think that's surface. I think that's really, really surface, because for most of us, I know in the South, it appears that religion is a big one. Religion is big on most people.
Being a board member.
Yeah,
right.
In the South for sure.
Yeah.
Marginalization of women. Black people being less than. Marginalization of black people, period. White privilege is on the board. Those are a few off the top. And when you look at the impact that it has on a person, if I'm black, and I am black, and white supremacy, white privilege is on my board, I could never reach my goals. If you think about it, like, I'm gonna always be marginalized, because the minute I interface with someone who's white, then I I'm subservient. I bow down. And I just kind of see that. I was at the zoo. I was telling you about this the other day, and I'll say it. 2 young ladies, couldn't have been, I'm gonna say between the ages of 16 and maybe 21. And they were talking to me, and a young black girl, we were engaged and we were talking back and forth, and every time someone white would say something, she would stop talking to me immediately and direct her attention to the white woman and explain to her until she was satisfied. And then she would come back and she would talk to me, and the woman was, in my opinion, rude. She'd just jump in.
Well, that's white folks with white privilege.
Right. And also, it said to me that white privilege was on the young girl's board of directors.
Yes,
because
definitely.
she had to respond to that board member, and she did. I'm a lot better with questions. So
Okay, then we'll get into some questions then. Let's deal with this. How is it EFT can help individuals in our community as well as the community as a whole?
I believe EFT, executive functional therapy, can help because it helps individuals, it helps groups become aware of subliminal messages. It helps individuals and groups become in touch with subconscious thinking, because most of what we do is determined not by our conscious thinking, that just kind of carries it out, but it's most of what we don't do, let me say that, is based upon our subconscious. The limitations and the marginalizations, most of that is based upon the board of directors. It typically will say what you can't do, things like that. So becoming in touch with board members can actually help individuals and groups to move in a direction that they actually would want to go in.
Let me ask you that. Would you agree that black folks generally are less likely to realize and understand that they have this this addiction to white?
Most black people are not aware, and he using the term addicted to white. I'm gonna say that they've embraced white privilege.
Yes.
Most black people are not aware that they have. There are some black people who haven't, but my interactions has been that they've embraced it, they've internalized it, and they don't recognize it, because they can interact with me a whole lot differently than they will with someone white, and we could do the same thing.
Yeah.
And automatically, because it's me, then it might be a problem. But if it's them, they'll justify it or wash it off or like it's no big deal. And to me, that's internalizing. It could be a million reasons why. After you keep saying it over, after I keep saying it over and over and over, then I'm thinking, okay, that's a board member. That's something that they've internalized. And so EFT can help them recognize that behavior, because that's gonna marginalize the person who embraces white privilege. If they're black and white supremacy, they're going to be marginalized. They're going to be limited.
Let me ask you then, understanding marginalization and limited capacity, we have a lot of members of our community who have no idea of how a corporation or company is organized or how it functions.
Okay.
So what do we do to get them to understand this concept?
Start off by asking, after I introduce the concept, this is what I do in therapy. I'll say something like, first I ask them to identify board members. Like I said, they start off saying their mom,
Yeah, their dad.
dad, things like that, and we'll go with that. if it's something that they want to do, but they begin to use language that goes against what they say they want to do, immediately I bring their attention to it. Says who? Who said that you couldn't? Where did that idea come from? Where did that belief come from? And after I keep doing it, now you have to go upstairs. You have to start thinking about, well, where did that come from? I use the example of something simple as clothing. Well, I use education. There are people who believe that if you're 50 or 60, then you're going back to school, right? Because there's no need to do it.
Yeah.
Says who? Where is that coming from? Where is that idea coming from? Or you have to dress a certain way. If you're older than 50, then you can't dress a certain way. Says who? So that's the work that I do with clients. When they say something that goes against whatever it is they say they want to do, well, says who? Where is that coming from? Why don't you try doing it? Take a step. Do it. The thing that you said that you can't do, understand that that's a board member. That's some subconscious thinking. Maybe you haven't, or the person has internalized being marginalized, and they believe that they can't, based on board members. Board members do affect and infect the board members. Okay?
I want to let you know that we have the telephone lines open, and I've got something I'm going to throw out to the audience out there. We want to find out who you would consider to be your board members, and we would like to see how you have come about identifying these board members. So if you want to get involved, give us a call. Now, when I first saw and listened to this concept, the first thing that ran across my mind was, this is an avenue that the masses of black people can use to be able to know who they are, know where they are, and understand the dangers that surround them. I don't think we talk about that enough in our community, about identifying who, what, when, what could potentially harm us.
Yeah, I'm thinking that when people in power decide that they want to give away something, like education, for example, it's time to check in. And what I mean by that is this. For most people, education is a board member. No matter how high the level of education, education is a board member.
Yes.
Right? Now, if someone in power decides who your board members are, you're going to forever be marginalized. You won't be able to reach your goals until you recognize that some of those board members are not really in your best interest. And it might be time to re-educate them or get rid of them, fire them, or whatever. Right?
Yes.
And so there are certain things that are taught in schools and certain things that are not taught in school. It's intentional because education is a board member.
I'm going to throw you a curve here.
Okay. All right.
In order to address these kinds of concerns, what prohibitive devices does alcohol and drugs present to this process?
Okay, so alcohol and drugs.
And I say that because we're talking about a sober concept that you have to have, all of your awareness about you, if you're going to be honest with yourself,
Right.
you have to be able to consider certain things, and you have to judge it fairly.
Mm-hmm.
If we're under the influence of anything, then that kind of skews it.
That's correct. And not only alcohol and drugs can skew it, previous knowledge can skew it, and it usually does. Alcohol and drugs, to me, kind of...
Give me the previous knowledge. Let me understand that.
So sometimes what a person knows can keep them from knowing something else.
Or learning something
exactly.
new. I got
right.
you.
And so it's the knowledge that they have already that actually won't allow EFT to be effective until they realize that it's possible to know something that's wrong. It's possible to know something that's wrong. Most people, until they do this kind of work, believe that what they know is right. Because they know it, that automatically makes it right. And so now all I have to do is educate you or miseducate you, and that's what Carter G. Was
right.
talking
Miseducation.
about. Right. That so if I miseducate you and you believe that it's correct, right? Now you're gonna use that to actually perpetuate what it is that I have you perpetuate. So alcohol and drugs kind of limit you and put your mind to sleep, and you won't do that level of thinking. But most people, believe it or not, are not doing alcohol and drugs. Most people, but most people are educated at a certain level.
Now you got me. When you say most people are,
Yeah.
I mean, we have one of the
All day long, I'm saying,
Okay.
at a level where it would incapacitate them 24/7.
Okay,
But
so,
a person walks with their education all the time.
Okay.
That's the biggest one, right? Religion, belief systems, philosophies, education. Alcohol and drugs won't help you access some of the board members, but that'll go out of your system in a relatively short time. Your education is not really going anywhere like that. So that's way more potent than alcohol. Will it marginalize you? Yes. Will it incapacitate? Yes, momentarily.
Okay, and you say momentarily because, as a person who had been under the influence of alcohol and or drugs for periods of time,
Okay.
I'm going back now, drawing, because, I got to the point where, I just cut all of it loose, all right? So I guess in this state, I'm reflecting back, realizing the state I was in, and even though I thought at the time that it was temporarily until it went through the system, I come to learn and find out later that there was still, after I thought I had eliminated it,
Right. It was
still affecting my ability to think.
Absolutely. I agree with that 1,000%, but not like your education.
Not like the education.
Not like your education, not even close. So, for example, alcohol and drugs might have, say, caused you to get in a car accident. Right. But watch this. The car accident began to make you think. That accident is what? An education. Are you following me?
I got you.
The accident is an education. Now, that's a part of your whole experience, which might actually lead you to what? Stop drinking alcohol or doing drugs.
Now let me tell you why I went down this road.
Okay.
Because I have a problem. They say, and I've heard this many times, and I say it myself, it is difficult to love my people. Okay? And within that, I'm saying it's difficult to see how my people will allow themselves to be treated the way they are. How can we get them to realize and understand? Like Harriet Tubman said, if they only knew they were a slave, I could have saved
Could do
more.
something. Watch this. And I'm answering your question. I'm also going back to alcohol and drugs, because alcohol and drugs is what? the shackles that actually keeps the person
Yes,
in
I agree.
a state where they can't begin to do the level of work. Now, watch this. I'm saying it's temporary, but that's what I was saying about education. If a person in power gives you a cell phone, they just want to give it to you, right? For me, I want to question, well, why? Right? if you're making alcohol and drugs readily accessible, right? But certain information is not readily accessible, then I'm questioning that, because why is that so important for an example? Weed to be legalized. Why is that so? And everybody's pushing for it because it's another shackle kind of.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Now, there are people who do it recreationally. I get, hey, not knocking you, right? There are people who drink recreationally, not knocking you. I'm saying that it can be used to keep you from doing a certain level of work.
Right, I agree.
And so I think that's why you asked the question about what part does alcohol drug have in it. A big part, but not like education, right? That'll keep you from doing a level of educating yourself that you need to. The alcohol drugs will keep you from doing that, but that's temporary to wear off, and you might wake up, or you might get in a car accident, and that becomes the education.
That becomes the education.
You asked me a question, I went backwards, so ask me again.
No, I was just asking you because how is it that we can get give you an example. We have an overweight problem within our race.
Mm-hmm.
We also have hypertension, we also have diabetes, which is all connected.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of brothers and sisters who find out they have high blood pressure, find out they have sugar. And it's okay, I'll deal with it. Mm-hmm. Instead of, let me find out how I can eliminate it. Mm-hmm. What has first of all, what has brought on this general thinking that keeps us medically inferior?
Mm-hmm. Again, EFT, definitely useful for that. Board members. I have to talk about, I said this before one time on your show, people have help to stay in certain conditions. In other words, someone who's eating poorly, right, has a lot of help in maintaining that behavior. And let's not look at it individually, let's look at it collectively, right? So in certain areas, certain zip codes, I would guarantee you that there are certain types of sicknesses in those zip codes.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
Watch this. Then you look at education, you look at schools, you look at the menus in the schools, you look at the food products, or what's available in that area for them to eat. And they may want to curtail certain behavior or change it. But they're gonna have a lot of help staying in the position that they're in. That's intentional. Now watch this. Now if you continue to do that, even your genes are changing.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
This is true.
Yeah.
We know this is true.
Yeah.
So now, if you're in a stage of your life where you can produce offspring, you passing that along.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if your major concern is your health, and you've been miseducated, and what's in your immediate vicinity is something that's going to keep you in that position, I have to worry very little about you changing. I hope I'm making sense.
Yes,
right?
you are.
And so now that's intentional. Okay? So people a lot of times have help with staying in poor positions.
Right.
And people in power, if let's say, for instance, this is a pie, and I got 90% of the pie. Because I'm selfish and I've been miseducated, I don't recognize that the pie really belongs to all of us. I believe that it belongs to me.
Yes.
Watch this. So I'm going to do everything that I can to keep the 90%, even miseducate you.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes, yes,
right?
yes, yes.
I'm going to miseducate you. I'm going to put things in place to keep you in position, right? Keep you occupied. And education is really, really good at that.
Yes, it is.
Right?
It is.
It's really good at that. So, and we say, well, alcohol, drugs, yeah, that's true. But you could may as well say overeating. You mentioned that, right?
Yeah.
You may as well say any of those other things that kind of put the shackles on. But that's not really the board member, right? That's the shackles that actually help you not check in with the board.
One of the realizations I came into many years ago, which caused me to end up becoming a vegetarian, was I found out the two most destructive drugs that we use every day.
I bet I can tell you.
What's that?
I would say sugar and salt.
You got it 100%. Exactly. Exactly.
And it's in everything. And it's
Told
intentional.
me it was worse than cocaine.
Yeah. Yeah.
I said, whoa,
Yeah.
look at here. What are we doing to our bodies?
Right. And again, right, I typically don't blame a drug addict for being a drug addict, right?
I can agree with that.
Like, I don't
yeah.
do that, right? And so I don't blame people a lot of times for being in the positions that they're in. And watch this. And I don't necessarily blame people for staying in the positions that they're in, right? If they don't get help getting out of those positions, right? Because they're having a lot of help to stay in a position. And I think that's where we sometimes we make errors because, it ain't doing nothing to get office, so I'm not going to do anything. Well, guess what? They're having help to stay on it. You talking about you're not going to do anything to help them move from the position, but they're having help to stay in the position. So why would I not help them get out of the position? So I can't really blame them for being in a position, and I can't really blame them necessarily for staying in a position because they've got help to stay in a position. All that is Chad and me talking, right? If I'm not doing anything. So I can't do everything, but I am trying to educate, right?
I found out through my my tenure on this planet that time and grade means everything.
Okay.
If you don't get sufficient help to them in a particular period of time.
Yeah, it's just almost too late.
It's
almost
too late.
right.
Yeah.
It's almost too late,
Yeah.
right? And we saw that with Katrina, right? And people responded to emergencies, right? You could look at that on a micro level, on a macro, and on a meso, right? But that's real. Time is important, and guess what? People in power know that also.
Oh, and they use it
exactly, right? So. I keep going back to, because I taught at Suno, you know that, and it's like, man, I'm trying to get this information to you, but because what you know is so powerful, you can't receive what it is that I'm trying to give, right? And I know if you just open your mind and you get it, right? Just open your mind. Put that on the side for right now. Just kind of walk with this for a little bit. It's gonna open up. You're gonna get it.
I know I'm going to say, I know when I'm going to say this, there's going to be a whole lot of people who are going to be upset with me.
Okay.
But I've noticed over the years, and it hit me when you mentioned Suno, that the caliber of black students we have today are so, in my sight, are so far inferior to what we had during the days of segregation until it's almost guaranteed that the generations that will, the leadership of the generations in time to come are going to be in worse shape than it was during the 50s and 60s.
Well, not if we use EFT effectively. If people, embrace this concept and use it, and without separation, right? Use it without separation, without elevating oneself as they use it. Recognize that there is a connection, right? And then what you're saying, the opposite is going to happen. Yeah.
So you're saying you use EFT.
Executive function therapy.
You use EFT, but you don't allow it to take over your particular position, and we used to call it getting big-headed, or figuring you're better than somebody else.
Right.
You have to use it in a manner that's going to keep you balanced.
Yeah.
While you try to balance others. Is
Exactly.
that right?
That's exactly right. You have to use it first and continue to use it as you engage the client using it.
Yes.
Right? And you don't have to use terminology. And you can simply say, you don't want to say board member, just say, well, where did you get that from? Who's telling you that? Really?
Yeah.
What makes you think that you can't? Like okay. And then we can talk about where a person might have heard that they couldn't, and how it's being reinforced, right? And then we can look at, but is that really true? Because here's an example of someone doing it, right? And over here too, and over here too. So now we undoing some of the stuff that you learned. And what we're attacking at that moment is the education that's on the board of directors. So we're re-educating you now, right? Or it could be something where you believe that black is less, right? I hear statements, and I know that it's coming from, marginalization of African people.
Yes.
I heard something the other day, oh yeah, because those people in Africa, they sold this, that, and other. I'm like, wow, now where did that come from? Says who?
Yeah.
Like really, where are you getting that from? As I look at your skin and you're black.
Yeah.
Right?
Sounding white.
Right. So now you've internalized it, and less than is on your board, black being less, white being more. So if you're gonna use EFT, you have to make sure that your language is based upon you having done the work and continuing to do the work, right? Because the EFT is something that you have to continuously use.
Yeah.
Yeah, because some board members are reinforced by other board members and by experiences. So you could do the work of re-educating the board member, but then you can experience something in life that reinforces an old board member, and now that old board member has more power. That happens a lot.
Yeah.
Right?
You mentioned something that I have to acknowledge here, and we do it generally in our community because this is where we have been led to. Continual education is something that, for some reason, we just do not embrace. And if we embrace it, it's usually we continue an education that ends up being harmful to us. So what is it that we can do to straighten that particular piece out?
Use EFT.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I
use
agree.
executive functional therapy, a tool that can help a person become or get in touch with subconscious thinking, and probably embrace the idea that if you were born and raised in America, embrace the idea that white privilege is a board member.
Yeah, right. And it's real.
Right. Embrace
It's
that
real.
idea. Know for a fact that it's a board member. Know for a fact that education is a board member. Know for a fact that just because you know something, it doesn't mean it's right. Challenge your thinking. Where in the world did that come from? Is that really in my best interest, individually and collectively? Right?
Now, I've watched you give lectures on this to other colleagues who are in the field that you're in. How do we get the average person in our community to become interested, and begin to practice this?
By using it. The person has, again, and I'm going back there again, if you're familiar with the concept and you begin to use it, as you interface with people, right, you're already using it.
And then you make them aware,
right,
that you're
but watch
using
it without separation.
Yeah.
Right. Usually you're going to hear it. So when people come to see me, they come to see me because there's a problem. They're not coming to see me because everything's hunky-dory, right? They're coming because of the problem. Usually when a person says that they can't do something, that represents a problem, right? Automatically, right, we can look at the external things on the outside that's keeping them from achieving what they want, but also we have to look upstairs to look at those things that might be keeping them from getting what they want. So when you hear the language, you know for a fact that there's a board member somewhere. I can't. Oh, what says who? Now watch this. Maybe you're having help not being able to, and I can recognize that, right? I see this over here, brother. I'm not crazy. I see the stumbling block, right? But that still doesn't mean that you can't, right? That just means that we might have to move that or go a different way. But understand that you can. Let's change that because you've internalized it. It's a board member. Now you believe in it. And notice I recognize and I acknowledge what? The problem that was in place, that was intentional. Yeah.
We have the fastest hour in television, believe it or not, and we're at that point already.
Wow.
I know it's hard to believe.
It sure is.
But before we get out of here, I want to make sure that people know how to get in touch with you, because I know you do a seminar on this that's extremely good.
Thank you.
You know, and churches, civic organizations, they would best be able to facilitate and use this to be able to understand themselves better. So let the people know how they can get in touch with you.
All right. So, like I said, my name's Ronald Fletcher. My phone number, you can reach my phone number, 504-390-6145. I've got an office in Algiers, 3501 Holiday Drive, Suite 405. And my email address is pfletch, F-L-E-T-C-H, the number 8, at AOL.com. And I'm open to coming and doing seminars and workshops. Thank you.
Okay. And I want to thank you, my brother, for
you,
being here with us again, because any chance I get, I try to get you in here.
I appreciate you.
Well, I appreciate you, because I think that you have a lot to offer, and I think our community would be extremely benefit from this, from the knowledge that you have and that you're willing to share. A lot of people have knowledge, but everybody ain't willing to share it, if you know what I mean.
Yes, sir.
So I want to thank you again, and I want to tell our viewers that we'll be here next week. The phone number's up there. If you have any ideas or if you have information that you consider vital for our community, then give me a call. We'll see if we can schedule you to come here and make a presentation. But I want to thank you for being with us. I want to thank you for the continued support that you give our story and the continued inquiry about the availability of our story in other venues and avenues. Until we meet again, brothers and sisters, stay strong. Remember that whatever you do, you must stay strong, stay black, stay involved, but by all means, stay committed to blackness. Uhuru Sasa Mgawa.
Loud is the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us, facing the rising
Dr. Dre, there was Dr. James, welding cords around a copper frame. We sing songs, not for the accolades, to lift voices like a helicopter blade. High in the listening skies, my eyes glisten and tears drop down like rain. Not from the pain, from the joy of how far we came. My brainstorms are designed to celebrate our reign. Yeah, when you put it in perspective, the collective, monuments erected, continents affected, presidents elected, ancestors making moves with the music we've been blessed with. We use it to keep communities connected. Through harmonies, a harmony is collected. Reaping the fruits our foremothers invested. Lift every voice till freedom has manifested. Come on, yeah, lift every voice till freedom has manifested. Come on, listen, lift every voice till freedom has manifested. Come on, come on, come on, come on.
Sing a song,
Yeah, talk to
full of the faith that the dark past has taught us.
come on.
Sing a song, full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun
Facing the rising sun, come on.
of our new day begun.
It's a new day.
Let us march on
Yeah.
till victory is
Yeah, until victory is won, come
won. Till victory is
This is
won.
victory music. Come on, I hope you feel it.
Boba